Welcome to Closer to Venus. Today's guest is Maria Martinez. She is a cosmic weaver, medium, channel, and quantum alchemist. Her work involves clearing energetic interference from a wide range of sources and guiding others to remember their interdimensional journeys. In this episode, we'll discuss what she's learned from beings across the cosmos and the divine human blueprint. Maria, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
Cosmic weaver, that's not a term we really hear a whole lot. What exactly is that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting term that came to me many years ago when I started connecting and meeting with more of the starseed beings as part of the mission. So the way they explained it to me was you're ushering new starseeds awakening into their truth, and you're helping them remember where they come from. Most of us, if not all of us, are hybrids. So that's the remembering of the different cosmos, helping them reconnect to the different lines within their galactic DNA and remembering the technology that they bring forth and how to actualize that or bring it into this reality to work with humanity, also to fulfill their mission.
Part of your mission is to help starseeds remember who they are, remember what their talents are, especially technology-wise. Is that true?
Yes, so that is part of a mission. The other mission is cosmic sovereignty. Cosmic sovereignty goes back to the remembering who they are, remembering the Christic being that they are, and activating within themselves also that memory and that divine blueprint that is the original creation of who they are, and activating that, which also helps them connect further and deeper and also go into the remembrance of who they are.
We hear about that a lot these days, remembering who we are. It seems to be somehow connected to ancient civilizations of thousands of years ago where we were a more advanced culture. Do you agree?
Yes. Many ancient civilizations also had the wisdom and technology of other starseeds, and some of those were starseeds. So the technology that was available, the awareness, the connection to the universe, the connection to Earth, which was much more common, like this is who we are. We can connect to the vibration, the frequency. We can communicate with everything that's around us. We can access everything that is possible and everything that we believe to be possible.
You mentioned a few moments ago that we are all hybrids. Is that the same thing as saying that we're all starseeds anyway, or is it something different?
Yeah, the majority of us come from the stars. We don't necessarily come just from one star because we have different timelines. We have different incarnations. We are living many lives at once. So we have connections to the Andromeda. We have connections to the Arcturians. We have connections to the Syrians, Lyrians. We have connections to many different other races, galactic races, and they're part of our DNA. And when people ask me, what am I? I'm like, okay, so let's start with your hybrid. And then we look at which ones are the most present or most prevalent in this moment. And then we talk about those. But the majority of us are 2, 3 that are really coming forth that are ready to be actualized.
So you're talking about our lineage, our star lineage, something like that?
Yes.
You were descended from shamans, I believe, and your initiation started at a very young age. What were some of the things that you learned?
Yeah, well, in this lifetime, I was initiated at 8 years old into shamanism, partly because I was born awake, meaning I was already working with spirit. I was always working with source. I was working with my guides from a very young age. I can remember 5, 6 years old going on galactic missions, and also missions where I was retrieving soul fragments and basically restoring them back to humanity. I was working with, some of them were archangels, Elohim. Some of them were other beings like Andromeda and Arcturian that for me were just my guides at that point. And didn't start looking into who are really my guides until I really started having these conversations. So that was happening at a very early age, and we were introduced to someone by a friend, and she was a shaman. We at the time didn't know she was a shaman, but she recognized that I was already doing my mission work, and she also recognized that I needed some tools because there's so much in the astral plane. I started my initiation with her about actually my siblings as well. My siblings are also very gifted, though I was the one that chose to pursue this path here. And about the age of 18, 19 is when I started my shamanic training. And that lasted for about 7 years.
So you've had contact with various types of non-human entities from a very early age. Was this done through channeling or instant recall? Was it in the dream world? Or is it a combination of several different sources?
What I was describing of born awake means that I could see. So I can see them standing in front of me. I can see them in my inner eye. I could hear them. I can have a conversation with them while they're standing in front of me. I could sense them. I can sense what is in the room or wherever I am. And also I was remote viewing, and I was doing a lot of astral travel. So all of the above, what was happening, yes.
Now with the astral, isn't that where the lower vibration beings are typically, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. When we talk about the astral plane, we talk about the spirit like leaving your physical body and going into the spirit plane. Now there are different dimensions that you can go into. We often go into the astral plane, especially in our sleep state. When we're sleeping, our spirit will go out and go into the astral plane. Yes, you can pick up other entities there, and fragments of your spirit can get stuck in the astral, which is something that I help clients do, restore the fragments and clear whatever they're bringing back from the astral. There's a lot of dimensions within dimensions that are places that you travel when you're not in your body.
Dimensions within dimensions. Now, I've heard several people describe dimensions and densities. Are the densities within a dimension, or is it something else?
I don't know if I would describe it that way. For me, the way dimensions are planes of existence. When I'm working with clients and we're looking for the root cause of something, whether it's the root cause of their physical ailment or the root cause of a tracking or tracing by an entity or the root cause of a witchcraft like magic or a trauma, we go into different dimensions if we're looking for something that feels heavy and dark. They're just different planes of existence that could look any which way. They could be very dark, very heavy, or they could be very crystalline, or they could look like a forest with trees, or they could just look like space, like a space with no physical objects. It just feels like energy that you're in. So that's how I describe the dimensions. Also, the way I describe dimensions is timelines, like going into another timeline is another dimension. That happens often also when we're either restoring or upgrading a part of ourselves. So we look for the parts of ourselves that can be upgraded or need to be reset or recalibrated. It's like you're sitting there and all of a sudden a window opens around you, and then that window surrounds you, and then you're sitting in that dimension. But you're observing it. It's like you're the holograph in that dimension and you see it happening. So that's how I describe the dimensions, because that's the way I see them.
I've been told different people see them differently. A moment ago, you mentioned parallel lives and now dimensions. Is there a connection between the two?
When I look at what are the parallel lives and what are the dimensions, each one has their own definition. But when I'm working with them, I'm looking for where's your energy signature? Where are the places where I can track your energy signature? And parallel lives are places where you're living a life and it's happening. It's very similar to this life that you're living in, but it's also like a dimension, like another earth that is happening at the same time. So when we go into that timeline, you're living your life, and you may be another version of yourself, either an actualized version or not actualized version of yourself. You may be in a different physical body or appearance, or sex. You may be a woman, you may be a man. So it's you, it's a soul part of you, but it's just you chose a different experience, you're living a different life, you're a different place in your journey.
Is there a connection between that and dreaming about places and people that look very familiar, but you've never met them and you've never been to this physical place? Could that be the same thing? Yeah,
many times, again, especially if we are moving into our awareness and our awakening and we're embodying more of ourselves and we're really open, we want that to happen. Meaning like we are intentionally wanting to remember. The intention is to remember all of ourselves and restore all of ourselves. A lot of times we'll have memories of that, or we'll have dreams, which are actually many times travel to that time where you can observe and see what's happening and you're learning what that experience was. And that actually happens a lot in the dream state, in the astral plane, where you go and you learn about yourself, you retreat more about yourself, you integrate more about yourself, and especially if you start doing lucid dreaming.
Let's say I dream about a place and people, and I like that place, and those people better than the ones in this plane? Is there a way to actually jump from one timeline to another, or is that only done in the dream state or a very deep meditative state?
The way you access that in the first place, you can go back to that place. But there's things that you can learn from that place that can also improve your life here. Maybe you are a different person there. You're maybe more confident. Maybe you're more integrated. Maybe you're more connected. Maybe you're expressing more of your power. By learning those aspects of you and integrating to this lifetime could also improve because you're the catalyst and you're the center of your universe. When we're talking about jumping from different timelines, there's two facets to that. We can move through timelines in the astral plane, and we can travel to different timelines, and we can also shift this timeline. And the way we shift this timeline, so that would be more in the spiritual energetic frequency, and here would be more physical and frequency and also conscious. And what I mean by that is that, for instance, right now, if you continue to do what you do now, your life is going to be the way it is, right? If you decide, I want to live the biggest vision of my life, I want to express myself fully, I want to fully integrate my potential and live from that place of potentiality, and I want to be of service to humanity, I want to feel fulfillment. So those are things that you're already putting into the space that is your energetic field. You're also making that declaration to source. So you started the wheel turning already. Now the second part of that is, what's the gap for me to get there? That could be trauma, that could be just a level in your mindset, it could be shifting your being, your perspective of the world. So all of these little things recalibrate who you are and what you're creating, what you're inviting into your reality, what is making up your reality. So when you shift all of that and you start embodying that new version of you, let's say that version of you is happy, joyful, fulfilled, or happy, joyful, grateful. When you start embodying those frequencies, really feel within yourself and know the aspects of that version of you and embody those aspects of you, that new thinking, the new behavior, that new discipline, the new perspective, the new way of looking at the world, you shift your reality quickly. So that's you moving into a new timeline in this physical reality.
But those people that I meet, which look immediately familiar, even though I've not actually met them, there's no way I can call them up and say, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? Or do you want to go out for a glass of wine? That's not going to happen, obviously. Or is that not true?
Those people already exist. They're part of your knowing and remembrance. And by you shifting into that frequency that you are in that timeline where you have it all, or where you have the level of fulfillment, those people could very well come into your life.
You were apparently trained by a Luminous collective, which I take it were light beings, that you had an ancient pact with.
So that started when I was very young, when I was doing my mission work. The initial training was helping me remember that I already had the skills or the know-how to do my mission work. So when I was going on my mission work at the age of 5, 6, obviously, as a child, you don't really know. Everything's kind of play in your imagination. So they were with me and they were giving me the tools. They were giving me the knowledge to do what I needed to do to extract spirits. So another way of describing what I was doing was exorcism. I was pulling entities from, not from the physical person, but from the spirit, and then restoring the spirit back into the individual. So that was the level. Now, as I got older and I was aware of the work that I was doing, then I started doing it at the physical level as well. And I still do that now. When people come and they're like, I feel like there's something that's
an entity
or something's going on. I can identify the entities. I can identify where they came from, identify the source of it. So this was the training that I was doing from a very early on. And part of that is that this is not my first time doing this, right? I came in, and the reason I came in awake is that I wanted to remember so I can continue to do this work as well. So what they were helping me do is remember and continue to do my mission work and activate that knowledge that was already within me. And the teaching and the training was more about trust. It was more about leaning into my knowing. And it was more about getting out of my own ways, even though I still have my own experiences. And we all come and we have lessons to learn as human beings. But that was the things that they really were leaning into, especially at that time. Because when you're a child, you come in and you're empty, right? All you know is consciousness. And then you start getting filled up with your environment, society around you, the belief systems, the stories of your parents and your families. So that's when the illusion or the disruption begins in the mind and the consciousness. And then that triggers old memories from other lifetimes in which you also lived those lives. So what they were letting me do is do my work and do it in a way where that wouldn't so much affect me, whatever was I picking up, because that was also part of my reason for coming here, to learn more about humanity and learn how to overcome and learn how to forgive and learn how to be unconditional love. So they allowed me and helped me do my work and allowed me to learn my lessons at the same time as I was moving through my ascension. Some of the training that we did was the blueprint. They helped me see codes in the blueprints. They helped me see the disruptions in the blueprint, in the codes, in the DNA, in the field, in the auric field, morphic field. And they helped me also find the disruption in the organ systems where I can pull out whatever was there, whether it was an implant, an attachment, a fragment, an emotion, or a thought that was creating the disturbance. So the training itself, it felt more like downloads. It felt more like when I was in their presence and whoever I was working with was in front of me, I was able to see through, which were felt like downloads, that they were helping me access from myself, from my previous actualized versions of myself.
All right. So speaking of other lives, and this was an ancient pact, how far back does this particular memory go?
Thousands and thousands of lives that I've done this work, similar work.
So this is before recorded time, or?
As galactic beings, we're very ancient, before Earth. Earth is one of the newer planets. When we think about our mission, we have an Earth mission and we have a galactic mission. The galactic mission, as I mentioned earlier, has been cosmic sovereignty. At that level, I was already doing extractions. I was also doing clearings. I was also helping with the balance and guardianship of different races, activations. And then my mission on Earth was now with humanity at the humanity conscious level.
Speaking of races, different star races, it's a popular theory that there are star races that are friendly and there are star races that are not so friendly. And the ones that are not so friendly are apparently trying to keep us trapped in this 3D matrix, feeding off the negative energy. And the friendly star races, star beings, are trying to free us from that. Have you had any direct experience with that or anything like it?
Yes, and earlier when I was referring about my cosmic mission, that's been one of those things where I've helped and I'm still helping heal, release, clear the distortions of some of the lower races or the races that are not necessarily here to help humanity, like the reptilians, the Anunnakis, the Archons, the Arachnoid, the Insectoid. And there's actually many more. There's Beast Machine or technology. There's also a lot of shadow beings, the Greys. So there's a lot of other entities that are not necessarily here to help humanity. But I want to say that I've also encountered some fallen. When you're doing the work that I do, you can recognize and you can call them forward and you can ask them to reveal themselves. So when I'm working with someone and there's an entity behind that either is cloaking itself or it's hiding its face or is trying to mask its energy signature, I'll call it forth, ask it or demand for it to reveal its true self. And when that happens, then I can really see if it's aligned, it's a Christic being, as a light, as a pure light source.
The entities, whether it's an attachment or an energy of some sort, it almost reminds me of like a tumor. Is it more often than not a star being, non-human entity, the ones that you have to remove, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. I can't even say like the number of entities that out there that I've encountered that I had to remove from people because there are just so many. So when I look at an individual, I look at all of their dimensions. I look at the dimensions here on Earth, which are a mental body, emotional body, physical body, energetic body, soul body, spirit body. And then, of course, there's other dimensions of them that are higher. So when we expand the dimensions of them, I'm looking in each dimension and I'm looking in between the dimensions to track. And I'm also looking for spaces that have been created like wormholes within their fields where these entities hide. And I found demonic beings, satanic beings, Luciferian beings. I found shadows. I found copies. I found mimics. I found Again, the ones that I mentioned, reptilians, Anunnaki, Draconians. So I find different types of beings in their field depending on where they are in their ascension. As you move up in your ascension, if you're here and then you decide, I want to move up to this level of ascension, I want to live this life, I want to create this level of impact, this gap here usually has entities that are playing a role in keeping you down here. So when we start looking through the layers, we start pulling everything out, and that could be entities that are very earthbound, and that could be entities that are very interdimensional, galactic entities.
Okay, we have the good star beings and the not so good star beings.
Yes, so the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Sirians, the Lyrians, Pleiadians, and there's other light beings that I've met that are hybrids as well. I have guides that are Andromedan Arcturian hybrids and Sirian hybrids, Arcturian Sirian hybrids. There are also hybrids that are also part of the guardianship council that help with humanity, that help restore or protect or help with extractions. They are working with us, moving to that cosmic sovereignty that is available to us. And they're helping with that balance, and they're helping with that restoration of the blueprint.
So the cosmic sovereignty and the blueprint are related, and there's also a connection between the tug of war between the good and the bad star beings. In other words, we want to go back to a time when there were not beings trying to hold us down under the proverbial water, as it were.
Yeah. So where we want to go is to the place where we're fully expressing our free will, where we're fully actualized, where we're also accessing our supernatural abilities, where we have it all, where we can be the highest potential we can be and have the level of fulfillment that we desire, the happiness, the joy, the wealth. That's where we want to be, the health, where we feel fully in our power, in our authority. We have that level of freedom where we can create whatever we desire without anything trying to suppress, anything trying to siphon, anything trying to dominate, and anything trying to torture.
When do you suppose the last time that existed on Earth? A long time ago.
I would say a long time ago, but this happened very quickly because the Anunnakis came in to distort that. But there is more of humanity, and especially more that are coming in awake or coming in either as activators, coming in with a transmission, or coming in as catalysts for what we're moving into, which is that cosmic sovereignty.
Since you mentioned cosmic sovereignty, this is a quote, I believe, which is one of yours. As Elohim, I embody the creative power of the universe, weaving together threads of reality to help individuals claim their cosmic sovereignty. Is that what we've been talking about all along? And what significance does Elohim have?
Yeah, Elohim is another being that helps with that. They're an angelic being that, like the starseeds that come in and are full of love, and they're helping humanity's restoration back to our cosmic template, original cosmic template. So they, along with the other star beings, are helping in doing this. They're also very ancient. Their work is also very powerful. So my divine team includes the Elohim, the Arcturians, Andromedan, Sirians, Lyrians, Pleiadians, and the hybrids that I mentioned, as well as higher frequency beings like the higher luminous beings of light that don't usually take a form, and architects. Architects are weavers of time, and they're weavers of the template, and they're also weavers of the galaxy. And so they're also a being that is pure gold that come in, and when we're working with the divine blueprint, and especially for somebody that is also commissioned or mission to work with the template, they'll come in and work with that individual. So there are a lot of the luminous beings, or a lot of the divine members that have beautiful, powerful missions themselves that are helping humanity as guardians, as protectors, as healers, as activators, either activating new technology or activating at the cellular level the light within ourselves, the remembrance, elevating our consciousness, activating the physical body to hold more of that higher frequency, and expanding so that we can take on more of the mission work that we're doing here.
The energies that I guess we want to expel are draconians, anything reptilian, although I've been told that there are good reptilians as well, and the Anunnaki energies. This is one thing I just learned recently. Interviewed a gentleman called MD Seelig, who, long story made short, was a former Marine jet attack pilot that had access to the secret space program. And one of the things he told me was, we have to raise our vibration, specifically our level of love, because once it reaches a certain point, those energies, the Anunnaki, the reptilian, and so forth, cannot exist in the same space. Do you find the same thing?
Yes, the frequency that a lot of these beings bring is love. They hold the energy of love. Like one of my higher actualizations of myself is Ashara Tarama, and she is divine mother love. The Elohim bring in this beautiful love. Other beings that, again, some of them don't take names, as more of a tone, and they come in this beautiful golden, like this beautiful golden orb, like the sun, and it's an expansion of love that just feels like a warm wave of energy that moves through your body. Absolutely. The more we embody self-love, the more that we embody loving kindness and compassion, the more we embody unconditional love, our inner chemistry changes. There's a biochemical reaction that happens within ourselves, and as well as at the mental state, as well as the emotional state, as well as at the energetic soul spirit level. It's an amplification of who we are, and it's a recalibration of who we are, and it's also a letting go of what is there and that may be plugging into sadness, grief, resentment, regret. So the more we hold a higher frequency, the more we can expand, and the more we can be that beacon as well for others. And at the higher frequency we hold, there is less interferences.
It seems to me that there are many different types of beings that want to assist us. What I've also been told is that the love is coming from the angelic realm, but many of even the well-intentioned star beings don't have emotions. Isn't that true?
Yeah, so I want to clarify that. First of all, love really comes from within ourselves, right? Because we are creation of love. We are love creation. So I want to make sure that people understand that the love that we seek is already within ourselves. We don't need to wait for somebody to bring it for us to experience it, because then we're asking for somebody to rescue us. We want to be in our power, and we want to make that choice that we are love and we are divine love. That's the frequency that we want to hold, not what somebody else brings us. The frequency that we want to hold is I am divine love. I am love creation. When we hold that frequency, everything else that comes in to support us is an amplification of that, what we are.
Isn't it also true that many of these star races don't have emotions, and it's almost as if they envy humans because we do have emotions?
The higher beings, luminous beings, they bring in frequencies of love that we can experience. And you're right about they don't have the human emotions because they're not playing in the human world. But we can still experience what they bring in because we can connect to that. It's the frequency. It's the frequency of that. They don't get angry. They don't get sad. They are just a consciousness, a frequency that we can tap into. So to your question about, are they a jealous type of being? No, that's a human emotion. They don't play the human emotion. But one of the things that I want to say is that you yourself, the more you go into a higher frequency, you can experience all the emotions, but there's no attachment to the emotion. Meaning that you're not seeking for something to make you happy. You're not seeking for something to make you feel joy. You just are. And it may even feel like I'm not feeling anything, but you actually are, because you don't need anything else to make you feel that, or you don't need anything like a catalyst for it. You already are those emotions. And it's interesting because a lot of people ask me when they're moving in their ascensions, they said, I feel disconnected from the people around me. And what is actually happening is that they're letting go of the human attachment to, I need to have like drama in my life, or I need to have an excitement in my life, or I need to have this in order to know that I'm here. So we move away from, I have to experience all of this in order to know that it's happening, or I need to experience some type of movement in my field and my energy and my emotion in order to know that I'm creating something. We just move into the knowing, and we move into, I am observing, I am living it, I'm experiencing it, but at a higher level without attachment.
The loss of attachment is pretty much the same thing as not having desires, right?
Yes. Yeah. And when we talk about not having desires, because then people will say, then how do I create my reality? You can still have a vision of who you're becoming. And that is the vision of you living into the greatest version of yourself. But there's no attachment to that. It's a forward movement. It's an expectancy. It's a flow versus an attachment to when is it going to happen? And I really want this to happen. So we move all of that out and we move into the expectancy. We move into the certainty. We move into, every day I am, every day I am, every day I am.
And that's the role of the observer.
And the master.
Anything else we need to know, at least for today?
Is it okay if I bring in a message?
Definitely, yeah.
I'm just going to check in to see what one's.
Whether it's for me or whether it's for anybody that's going to listen to this, that's great.
Yeah, very good. I'm just going to have the beings of light come in. We're going to connect directly to source to create that beautiful space of I am. And I want you to perceive and imagine that with each breath, you're bringing the universe around you into your heart. So as you take a deep breath, just feel the universe coming into your heart. You go ahead and exhale the next breath. Inhale and bring the universe into your heart and hold it. And then one more deep breath. And this time we're going to bring it and hold it. And then you're going to allow it to move through your throat, all the way up through your third eye and all the way through your crown and all out. We're going to do that one more time. And then exhale through throat, crown, all around. And this time we're going to bring it in from our root chakra, through our root chakra. So inhale, bring it in, hold it, then into the sacral, into the power center, into the heart, through the throat, all the way through up through the crown. One more deep breath, in and all around, in through your body and all around. Go ahead and take one more deep breath. Kia utsete je me ka na yati sahurukot se me uno yutu kara. Ikai ere ese shuuk anuta urelene nientesita ur unanashita ushe ekesa. Shamenegete kerete seherika na yatera tsato jugurokot setere. Go ahead and take one more deep breath. And this one's for you. For you, this is going to be like an expansion. More energy coming in, expanding in through your field and grounding you. And the next message is for our listeners. Yanouja kekatsate jemehen anatsatujo uroko utsatu mahanaka ukaratsata jinigete shakurukutsate shen mikiriketsatujinu. O nahanagete dereta tsita jokoro tsake jemehana kekatsata. Oh, show mahana taratsada kasharaka tsaraka sharaka. And so what they're doing is they're moving some energy out that feels heavy, and they're bringing in a greater level of freedom, a greater level of joy, a greater level of happiness. And what they're tapping into is your deepest desires. And instead of holding them in the space of deep desire, they're moving into the space of the way it looks like is they recognize that they find it and then they bring it out. So instead of something kidding, it's something that's already like a magnet, bringing it forth, bringing your desires forth. No sete shekikitsete yamau no yushu. So heye idia katsata jimana yutu shoburukutsatuja. One au karet sete jina matsu tareje ekirit sete jaura katsarakaha. The message that they're saying, or they're bringing you, is that your work is very valuable. Even in times where it feels it's not reaching the right people, it is. And it's reaching exactly who it needs to reach. And it's awakening. You're planting a seed in the world, and that seed is now beginning to grow. They're also saying that as we give, we receive. To open up to receive as well, to receive for yourself, and allow the universe to bring you everything that is available to you. What that means is, don't wait for something specific. If it doesn't come, then it's not happening. They're saying it's coming. It's available. Okay, so they're going to open up your third as well to receive. And one more deep breath. And to our listeners, what they're actually sending is this beautiful wave of light. It's a transmission of love and joy, and it's a transmission of what is next, meaning like when you connect to this transmission, it's activating in you the next level of potentiality, the next level of awareness, the next level of awakening. It almost feels like rain falling on you. It's this beautiful wave of light that is moving through, and it's a gift, it's a blessing, it's an activation. So whoever's listening, we're going to have them just breathe in and receive it. Allow your heart to be open. Allow yourself to move into deservingness, worthiness, and allow yourself to surrender into I am, the state of abundance, the state of joy, and feel the support around you. Yeah, it looks like a beautiful wave of light that goes in and activates different parts, different chakras in the system, and then moves down the body. And releases other energies that you no longer need, and activates the back of the heart, the back of the power center for more higher resilience, expanding your energetic container, and move you more into your intention. Very beautiful. Very good.
So you had messages for me, and as well as anyone who's going to obviously listen to this episode. Great stuff. Maria, thanks for joining us today. Very, very interesting information, to say the very least. In the meantime, how can our listeners find you online?
You can connect with me on 360prosperity.com or evolve360.online. You can also choose to do a discovery session with me. You can also find me on Facebook, Maria Martinez, YouTube, Maria Martinez, Instagram, 360 Prosperity, as well as TikTok, 360 Prosperity.
You've been listening to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. In the meantime, you can find more info on closertovenus.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.